Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on benefits and applications of Bloom. I'm April Thompson, Director of Marketing for Bloom, and we're very excited to have so many of you joining from all over the country. So before I introduce our featured speaker, just want to again go over a few housekeeping items. Again, while we very much welcome your questions and comments, we'd appreciate if everyone would stay muted and just use that chat box to enter any questions or comments. And you should see that little icon in the middle of the control panel there, little chat icon with two lines in the middle. As things come up through the presentation, you can put your questions there and we will hold them for the end where we'll have time for that. So note also that this presentation is being recorded, so not to worry if you'll miss something, we'll send this out to everyone afterwards. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Chris Piot. Chris is the Director of Resource Recovery for DC Water and really the driving force behind Bloom, who brought this to market. Chris directs the resource recovery for DC Water by establishing policies, plans, and procedures related to the recycling and extraction of valued from recovered resources, which we're going to hear more about today. Prior to joining DC Water, he served as a consultant in Seattle working on organic waste recycling issues and worked on similar issues for LA's Bureau of Sanitation. Chris has a BS in Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of Wisconsin at Madison and an MS in Civil Engineering from California State University at Long Branch. He's also a baseball fan, and I'm sure mourning that the World Series champs won't be kicking up the season tomorrow, but that just means that the Nats will stay in their pristine position of world champs for a little bit longer, so that's not too bad, I guess. Chris, over to you.
Hey, thanks, April. Really appreciate it. Yes, the Nats remain undefeated. That's fantastic. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I really wish we could do this in person, but unfortunately we can't. You know, crazy times right now. I promise that we will be reopened for tours as soon as we can, and we will bring people down. We love to show off the plant and the equipment that we use to make Bloom and some of the demonstration gardens and things that we have. So I really appreciate you taking the time. I just want to, I was looking at the list of people who have signed up, and we've got people who are existing and potential customers for Bloom in the DC region. We've got people from the wastewater industry. I know some friends from the West Coast. Hi, Miley, from Seattle, a few other people out there. So thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to go through some technical information, but I'm going to keep it fairly rudimentary because there are a wide range of viewers here. So I'm going to start with the presentation. Thanks very much. I just happen to have my Bloom hat, my Bloom sweatshirt, a Bloom t-shirt, and my Bloom mug here. Not especially for this event. It's just because I wear it everywhere. Everybody knows that. So we are really interested in talking about the benefits of Bloom. We are at the Blue Plains Advanced Wastewater Treatment Plant, and we don't even call ourselves a wastewater treatment plant anymore, but rather a resource recovery facility. We serve the citizens of the District of Columbia and also regionally, the capital region, 2 counties in Maryland, 2 counties in Virginia as well. And we provide drinking water to all of the citizens of DC. They all use the water, put their waste into it, ends up coming back down to us, and then we clean it up, put it back out into the river, cleaner than when we took it out of the river upstream, way cleaner. And we take the, I'm going to say in air quotes, pollutants out. The pollutants are carbon and nutrients, because we don't want those carbon and nutrients going out into the river and then eventually out into the Chesapeake Bay, which would upset the ecosystem. We don't want to upset the balance of nutrients out there. But nutrients and carbon are fertilizer and energy, and we are extracting both and managing to extract some value and make a product that we can now use in an urban setting. So we are tightening the loop so we don't have to transport it quite as far as we used to. We're using it in DC. Sorry about that. My slides advanced a little bit here. And sorry about that, technical difficulties. And then, you know, we're able to cure and heal some environmental scars in the DC area too. Can you guys see the slides? They seem to be advancing on their own for some reason. April, are you? There you go. All right, I'm going to start over. So our motto is that there's no such thing as waste, only wasted resources. There we go. All right. Can you see this, April?
I'm not sure what happened. It was on your first slide, and now I'm just seeing your face here in the quadrant along with a few others. Can you go back to share?
Let me try that again. All right, can you see the slides now?
Yep, all good.
Excellent. All right, sorry about that. All right, so there's no such thing as waste, only wasted resources. This is clearly an asset that every city has and every city can make use of. Many are, there are several and many that are not as well. But we're just trying to really promote the idea that this is an asset that we can make use of. So the magic behind our product, our Boon product, is our digester system and our thermal hydrolysis process. We put it in about 5 years ago. These are brand new digesters, and it was an enormous discretionary expense that our board approved because they understood that it made great environmental sense and also economic sense. I really think it's this rare municipal project that makes sense on both sides of that argument, both economic and environmental. And we are making a beautiful product that we are promoting, you know, and it's not a passive activity. We are holding events. When we did the ribbon cutting for the digesters, we had a digester launch event that was masterminded by our previous general manager, George Hawkins. He brought the mayor out, who's in the sharp suit there, Muriel Bowser, our board chair, our representative in Congress, an influential city council member, somebody from EPA, somebody from the Department of Energy, and they all stood by as we flipped a switch and powered a neon sign with the electricity that's produced from the digesters. And then we had them ceremoniously plant this tree with the Bloom product. And it was great because they all got to see it. They all got to put their face in it and smell it. And so now they understand what it is that we're talking about when citizens call and they ask questions. So it was really great. It was a nice way to launch everything. And the mayor was kind enough to get on social media and talk about it and talk about what a great program this is. So the process itself is we draw solids out of 3 different processes in the wastewater treatment process. We screen it. It goes through the Canby thermal hydrolysis process. In the middle here, this is just a block diagram, but this is sort of where the magic happens. It's high heat, high pressure. And when I say high heat, I mean really high heat. It's 160 degrees centigrade, not Fahrenheit, but centigrade. And we do 22-minute batches. So it's well above pasteurization. Pasteurization is 70 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. This is 160 C for 22 minutes. And it's also under high-ish pressure by our standards. It's in these pressure vessels that are at about 90 pounds per square inch. We stand here on the Earth at about 14 PSI. So it's about 6 times atmospheric pressure. And then when it gets to the last tank, which is back at atmospheric pressure, that sudden pressure difference causes the cells to burst. And so then we have a sterile, very available food source for the hungry microbes in the digesters. That's this tank here. It's got a dense population of archaea. Archaea is naturally occurring. It's a microbe that exists in nature. We all have archaea in our guts. It's archaea's job in nature to convert organic matter to methane. I'm willing to admit I produce a little bit of gas occasionally. That's because of my friend archaea in my gut. We collect the gas off of the top of the digesters. We burn it in 3 5-megawatt turbines. We produce clean, green, renewable energy that produces a renewable energy credit for us as well. For every megawatt hour of power that we produce, we get 1 renewable energy credit. And then we also recover the steam, because when turbines turn, they spin, they generate a lot of heat, and we have to shed that heat. Most people just put a water jacket on it and they dump the heat, but we need the heat. So we put heat recovery steam generators at the end of each of the turbines, pull the heat off, convert it to steam, and then that's how we heat up the Canby system. So we don't need any external energy to heat this up. It's extremely energy efficient. We also get energy credits, renewable energy credits for that steam, because it's recovered from heat that came from organic waste. So that's the energy side of it. The solid side is that the digesters are not 100% efficient. So what does not get converted to gas, it comes out of the bottom of the digesters, and that is our Bloom product. And we put it through a dewatering process, squeeze the water out, and load it out to go out to farms and soil blenders and other people. And then we also blend some of it into product, which I'll show you later. So the benefits of this are that we produced this Bloom. We sold over 40,000 tons of Bloom in fiscal year 19, which ended end of September last year. We have a goal of 60,000 for this year. We've improved the product quality over our pre-digestion days. Prior to this, we were producing a Class B product. Now this is Class A. And I say "and more" here on the slide because it's Class A, but it's also extremely low odor. It's got a very smells like mulch odor profile. Unlike our old biosolids product, which was Class B, you had to take it out to an agricultural setting. This now we can use in an urban setting. It's great. We're generating that 8 megawatts of power and those tier 1 renewable energy credits. That is really part of the Bloom program here, is the fact that we're making this clean, green, renewable energy. We cut our greenhouse gases emissions dramatically, and it's very dramatic. We reduced our emissions by about 50,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalent emissions annually. So every year that has been a reduction. And oh, by the way, we save millions of dollars every year. So again, it's this rare combination of being, I think, incredibly fiscally and environmentally responsible. So the value of the biosolids, of course, there's organic matter there. There are nutrients, both macro and micronutrients. There's the energy that comes from the biosolids. If we're sending it out to a farm, we're putting it down on the field, and the farmer does not have to go out and buy, say, ammonium nitrate, which takes an enormous amount of energy to make. So that is part of the reduction in carbon footprint, is that the farmers are not having to essentially buy energy to put onto their fields. There are beneficial microbes that improve nutrient uptake and disease resistance. And we've done research at Virginia Tech that shows that because of the microbial activity at the plant, when we use Bloom on plants, the plants are much more able to get through stressful conditions like drought. So if a farmer has a dry year, they can still have a healthy yield. This is one of the farms that land applied in Fauquier County in Virginia, and I love this photo because you can clearly show where the buffer zones are around the streams, because we don't want those nutrients getting out into the streams. And then this is Farmer A, who used the biosolids in a very, very dry year, and Farmer B on the top half of the screen, who did not, and you can see the stark difference. Anecdotal, but still incredibly telling. Once it goes out to a farm, it just ends up on a farmer's field, and it ends up in a manure spreader and gets spread just like traditional farming. We have done Some silviculture work as well, where we spread it on forest acreage that is going to be harvested for timber or for paper pulp fiber. And this is something I learned about when I was on the West Coast. They've been doing this for many, many years. And so I went out with some of my contractors and visited out there, and we brought this technology to Virginia about 15 years ago. It's been very successful. We've done some restoration projects as well, some large scale wet restoration projects. This is the Stafford County Airport. Whoops. Don't know why that
Hi,
happened.
Chris. There was an issue with your slides. I just actually forwarded them for you.
Okay, I don't see them now.
Now I don't see them now either. Can you maybe go back to presenting them, and hopefully that will be resolved?
Sure. What was the issue? What was happening?
They weren't going forward, and then I tried to just kind of do it for you, but.
Huh. All right, let me try this again. Are they forwarding now through what I have? All right. All right, this is where I left off. Stafford County Airport, can you guys all see that? Can you say that, April? All right.
Go ahead, proceed, thanks.
All right, sorry about the technical snafus. So Stafford County Airport, they built this airport a while back, and they cut down all the hills and filled in the valleys because, of course, you want your airport to be flat so you can build runways. And they found that they could not get any grass to grow because, unbeknownst to them, they cut into a vein of pyrite, which is extremely sulfurous, and they spread it out all over the whole site, and their soil pH was all messed up. So we said, we've got a product for you. We brought biosolids down to them, and the very, very next growing season, they had growing. This is an aerial shot of it, and they were very concerned because a bunch of the sediment was coming into the prior to getting any grass to grow. Sediment was running into the stream, and that was sort of messing up the stream. That's not good. And the very next growing season, after applying the biosolids, we worked on this with Virginia Tech and came up with an application rate that satisfied the reclamation needs and the restoration needs. And then they had thigh-high grass, and they had the audacity to complain to me about mowing because they had to mow so much. But they didn't complain too loudly because we saved them a whole bunch of money of not having to import topsoil. So we've done a whole bunch of research on the biosolids throughout the years as well with Virginia Tech, University of Maryland, and the USDA to look at some of these drought-resistant properties and some of the issues that people are concerned about because it is human waste. So we have a pretty robust research program that we have funded for about the last 15 years. We put together a small demonstration garden at Blue Plains, and this is small, but it's incredibly effective. When we have tours, we always show it to people. If we have reporters that come in, we always go over there and pluck a few blackberries or strawberries off the vine and pop them in my mouth, and that does a lot to instill confidence. Much more so than a stack of peer-reviewed papers does. It's kind of amazing. You can see in the shed in the back, we also have a giveaway for our employees, which is nice because they put it on their lawn. The lawn looks great. Their neighbors ask about it, and word spreads sort of organically. We have, again, this is not a passive activity marketing our Bloom product. We go out to the public, and we have presented annually at some conferences in DC. The Rooting DC conference, which is a conference for urban ag, has allowed us to present and set up our booth. And it's been very effective because it's been great. People understand what we're trying to do and that we're trying to get this product into the circular economy and make a waste out of what was, or make a product out of what was once considered to be a waste. We also have bees. We have honeybees at the plant, which is great. Not only because it's fun and we get some honey out of it, but because it also sort of, shares our concern with the mission of urban ag, the urban ag community. We understand that pollinators are extremely important, and we're doing our part to populate the DC area with pollinators. So as a result, we've been able to get onto a bunch of the community gardens. These are 3 of my favorite. Probably the one that is my favorite is the one in the middle. It's the Washington Youth Garden. It's at the the National Arboretum. And the woman who runs this brings kids in, teaches them how to garden, teaches them where food comes from, and then feeds them the food at the end of the year. And she used our product and understood the science, understood what we were trying to do, understood the risks were very low, and was incredibly present on social media and helped us out a lot. So this has really helped build confidence within the community. Again, none of this happens passively. We're happy to be out in the community and spreading the word about Bloom. So as a result, we're all over DC. This is sort of an old map, but I like it because it shows that we're in all eight wards of the city. We're using it throughout the city for community gardens and for tree planting and different things. So while we were always very proud of our Class B product, which is the product on the left, the Class A product is beautiful. I'm going to say it. It's an incredibly beautiful product. Comes out looking like rich Iowa topsoil. Because we are now Class A, we can diversify our end uses and get it into the hands of people who value it. And it turns out that high quality topsoil substitutes and soil amendments are in high demand in urban areas. So we branded it. We branded it as Bloom. That's our trademarked name. We have the infinity symbol in the middle, which of course connotes recycling. And I love our tagline, good soil, better earth. Good soil is very obvious, but better earth opens up the conversation to start talking about sequestration of carbon, which is incredibly important. There's this huge sink that we can be putting carbon into on planet Earth, and also the production of the green energy and the renewable energy credits. So that's all part of the story. Please visit our website, bloomsoil.com, for more information. So we have now a whole bunch of different products, and we've got product spec sheets on each of them. We have a couple of trucks that we have branded as Bloom trucks that go out and deliver product all over the DC metro area. We currently have our distribution and marketing permits in DC, Maryland. That is wrong. That is not. MA is Massachusetts. It should be MD. DC, Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. We're also working on New Jersey and West Virginia. So we also built a small blending facility where we can blend product for customers. I built it with the budget I had and in the space that was available, and we immediately hit capacity. So we are looking for partners to take the fresh Bloom off the belt and blend it at their sites, because that way we can reach more customers. We have limited amount of person power and space here to make products, and as soon as we make a batch, it sells. So I think that if we had partners, we could sell a lot more and get it into more people's hands. It is a great product for construction projects. We've had a partnership with Lane Construction in Maryland for a couple of years now, and they've been using it on some projects. We've also done some wetland restoration projects with it. It works great to bring out to a construction site and blend on site. Lane, I'll use Lane as an example here. They were having some problems finding enough compost to meet their spec for some of their projects. And we said, hey, we've got a product that comes off our belt every day. It's incredibly consistent. It really never changes. If we can get a sample to a lab and get that analysis accepted by Maryland State Highway Authority, I think that you will never have any problem finding enough material to blend and meet that spec. So we did it, and it met the spec, and now they're using our product on different projects. We make a woody blend. It's a favorite of gardeners and groundskeepers and landscapers. The American Horticultural Society has been using it, and some of our other customers are using it and selling it. We have a sand sawdust blend that mimics a product that is made in Tacoma, Washington. When I worked on the West Coast many moons ago, I admired what they did out there. They've been doing this on a smaller scale for many years, and this product mimics theirs, and they were incredibly helpful. It was great. We, of course, don't have any market overlap between us and Tacoma, Washington State, that is. We're using this product, again, all over the DC metro area. We have a small amount of cured bloom that we make with one of our partners, and we're looking for other partners to help us make more of this. We have in the budget a funds to build a curing facility at Blue Plains, but it's not going to be done for probably another year. So we're looking for more partners to cure the bloom. And really, all it is putting it in a windrow and turning it and drying it to about 50% solids. And it's this fantastic product that we can then put into bags. We have a partner with Homestead Gardens to cure some product and get it into bags. And we have it in their stores and in some Ace Hardware stores in DC right now. This is really it's a great way to get the product out, and we would like to make more of it. It's great for lawns. We've had some testimonials from people who've used it on lawns. Works great. I've got some slides at the end here that I'm going to show you of a project that we did at a school on an athletic field here a couple of weeks ago, and it works really, really great. This is that lane construction project about. We brought fresh bloom out to the site. They had a blender on site. They brought in some sand and some other products, and then they took the incredibly bad soil off the site and blended it in and used our product as the nutrient content and the part of the recipe that was going to add the organic matter, and put it back down onto the land, put the grass seed down, and got this lush green verdant grass to grow. They were incredibly happy with it. We have established some partnerships with some environmental groups as well, and some very, very well well-established, highly recognized environmental groups. This is Casey Trees. DC Department of Transportation uses our product for street tree planting, and Casey has used it for some of their tree planting as well. Casey Trees, for those of you that don't know, it's their mission to improve and increase the tree canopy in DC, and they plant about 5,000 street trees every year. And there's all kinds of great synergies for us at DC Water, because the more street trees there are, the more, of course, the cooler the city is, but also the more rainwater is captured by those trees, and it doesn't end up on the streets and does not end up back down at the treatment plant. So it's kind of nice to be using this product, this asset, to grow these trees that then reduces the amount of runoff that comes down to the plant. So this is that project I was telling you about that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now, we could not do this today because we put out a notice and asked people to come and help and gather and spread this material on this athletic field at Tyler Elementary in DC. It's at 11th and I Street Southeast. We brought 3 trucks of bloom out. We had 50 volunteers. We had kids out there. It was just fantastic. And I drove by yesterday. I should have grabbed some photos and put it back in here, but the site looks beautiful. It's the greenest spot probably on Capitol Hill. And it's going to be really nice. And this is a soccer field that almost every kid on the hill uses. My kids all grew up playing soccer on this hill, or on this field. And we're hoping to use it as a demonstration site so that we can get it onto other athletic fields as well. So again, back to this, there is no such thing as waste, only wasted resources. And we want to make sure that we use as much of this as we can within the DC metro area so that we can heal some of these environmental scars and improve the soils and make sure that people have healthy gardens and beautiful things to look at. with that, I think we're going to open it up to questions. Again, I apologize for the technical glitches, but I think we got through it. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thanks so much, Chris. We do have some questions that came in. One from Nathan Howell, who asked, at what point in the process are you testing for Class A fecal, and how often are you sampling?
Yeah, we test for fecals twice a month, but we have temperature feedback like almost once a second. We log these temperatures, and that's really how we certify it is the time and temperature relationship. So we know that this stuff is being blasted with this 160 degree centigrade heat for 22 minutes. And in order to get classified as Class A by EPA, we have to send those records in. And so we have these for every second of every day on a gigantic spreadsheet that shows that it is meeting this. And again, it's well above pasteurization. After it gets out through the digesters, we test it again for fecals and are down near detection limits for it. It's well below the Class A limit all the time. So it's great.
Okay, also a question from Andweli McCarthy. How long the process is to get distribution permits?
Oh, well, it's for us, we have a distribution permit. I'm not sure if the question was if they needed it to get a distribution permit, but for us, it is we go to the state and we apply for these through the states, and depending on the state, it can take a couple months, or it can take 6 months, or it can take 18 months. It just depends on the state. We have our application in for New Jersey, largely because we think that we might eventually start selling bagged product into Virginia. But we've had that in for probably 12 months, and it's still under review. So it takes a while. I don't know if that's a satisfactory answer or not.
Okay. Also a question from Nora Cibrian. What percentage of your operating costs are offset by Bloom sales?
Well, not very much. The Bloom sales don't accumulate to a whole lot, but what the largest benefit is the savings. So for if we sell Bloom, let's just say, I'm going to make up a number, for $5 a ton or $10 a ton, that is $10 that comes in, but it also means that for that ton, we didn't have to pay somebody to take it away to a landfill, or which we don't do anymore, or send it out to a farmer's field or something. So, and that costs about $45 a ton. So it's about for every ton that we sell, it's about a $50 per ton swing. And we produce 165,000 tons every year. And right now we're on target to sell 60,000. So there still is some tonnage that we're paying somebody to take away. Eventually we're going to market all of that. We're building that market so that we can get that all into the market. So the biggest benefit is the savings over contracted hauling.
Teresa Johnston asks, what's been the best way to get the word out about your product?
Well, originally when we were doing this, it was a bunch of goofy engineers trying to do it. And, we're not known for our communication skills. I'll go ahead and say it. So for us, it was hiring Blue Drop to do this. We are marketing this through Blue Drop, which is the arm of DC Water that is in charge of generating non-ratepayer revenue, and Bloom falls in under that umbrella. So Blue Drop has hired April, who's fantastic at things like social media, and it's not my bailiwick. She's been incredibly good about having a presence on social media. We recently did an Instagram live feed. I did a tour of the plant with that, which I wouldn't have ever thought to do. And we had our DC Water social media expert help us out with that. And then, just with farmers, it's been really good to get out to farm meetings. That I'm not necessarily sure that the farmers are going to be on Instagram, but if we go out to the farm meetings, Holly Kaiser's been going out to, she's our ag salesperson. She's been going out to farm meetings. It turns out there's a lot of business that occurs at those meetings, and Holly knows a lot of people in that community. So we've been trying to have a presence at those meetings as well.
Great, thanks. And question from Erica Jones: How do you get more products sold into more retail stores?
Yeah, that is a challenge for us, and largely it has to do with having the ability to cure more material. The product in retail stores in bags, we think, has to be cured in order to be a high quality product. And as I mentioned, we have this curing facility that we're building, but it's not going to be done for another 12 months probably. So we're seeking other partners to cure more material. Homestead Gardens has been doing a fantastic job curing as much as they can. But we think that there's a market out there for more bag material, and we could probably use more partners. April's been working on that. Do you want to add anything to that, April?
Yeah, I think for us, yeah, it is a matter of just getting the production with the pilot that we've done with a few stores here in DC. It's actually sold very well. So I think homeowners are very eager to use recycled local products, and that fits the bill. So we've got a question from Maylee, which is, did you encounter any pushback to the $2 per ton nutrient rebate program for research? And if so, how did you address that?
Yeah, Miley is referring to on the research slide. It said we had a $2 per ton nutrient rebate, and that was in our contracts that for hauling the biosolids out to farmers. We got no pushback from that because we made it a stipulation of the contract. It doesn't sound like that much, and it's not nearly what the product is worth. The farmers who put it on will tell you that it's worth about $300 an acre to them. So getting a couple bucks per ton, or $2 per ton rebate back from the farmers is not asking too much. And we just made it a stipulation of the contract. If somebody wanted a contract, they had to give us that rebate. So no, we didn't get any pushback. And it turned out that all the contractors bid the same amount on that nutrient rebate. So they were all sort of in the same position. Worked out great. Now we are using some of the revenue that comes in from Bloom for research. So that as we phase out contract hauling, we have even more revenue coming in from Bloom that we can use on research. That's the plan anyways.
Okay, a question from Kendall Christianson, who wants to know if all of your feedstock, aka sewage, comes in through pipe, or do you also accept and integrate septic waste, FOG, and or commercial food waste? I'm not sure what FOG is, but you probably do.
Sure. FOG, fats, oils, and grease, FOG. Yes, we have a receiving station at the head of the plant that receives all of the above. We do not have yet a receiving station for food waste to go directly into the digesters. That has proved to be complicated, and we have put it on hold partially because the digesters are fairly new and there are some operational issues that we are trying to work out. And the operators and the engineers in charge of operating them want to solidify the operations on the intended feedstock before we introduce anything new. So right now we are not putting anything directly into the digesters, but we do have a receiving station at the head of the plant. So it goes through the whole treatment process.
Okay, another question from Jennifer McDowell, wanting if you can comment more on the specifics of the construction specs, some of the challenges in getting a different than compost product accepted for that type of use.
Yeah, that was great. Hi, by the way, Jennifer. Good to hear you're here. We went to Lane because they were a large construction firm, and we said, "Do you have any projects?" They said, "Well, we have this one, and we are currently blending compost that we get from a large composter here on site, but it's an enormous project." And they were worried, and I think that it happened to them in the past, where they would get halfway through a project, they'd go back to the composter would say, "Hey, we're out." And then they went to another composter, got a different compost, sampled it, did the analysis, came back, and it didn't meet the specs. So they were craving consistency. And I said, if you're craving consistency, you should try our product. So we sent some samples of Bloom, and they sent it into the lab and got the analysis. We told the state what was in it, and it met the specs, and they approved the specs. So there was no stipulation that biosolids could not be used in highway projects. We just gave it a shot, and we were very honest about what was in it, and they said it was fine. So from now on, at least in Maryland, I think that Lane is going to come to us for the organic component of their soil blending projects.
Okay, a question from Erica Jones. No, I'm sorry, Nancy Brown. What's the process for using this in a lawn renovation?
Well, for instance, on the project that we did at the athletic field, we blended product on site and brought it out to them. We made a sort of a mulchy. It was using the hardwood fines. You know, there's a sawmill nearby that does sawing of hardwood, and they've got all these fines that they didn't know what to do with. So we were able to get it from them, blend it in, and make a hardwood fine blend with the Bloom. And it was fresh Bloom, so it wasn't cured or anything. We blended it up. We sent it twice through our blender so that it was nice and broken up, and we brought it out there and top dressed. So what we did was we put the seed down and then top dressed over it. That was not ideal. I think that they should have seeded with the top dressing, but the way that the contractor scheduled it is that they put the seed down first. But it turns out that it is working fine, because again, I should have had some photos of that, but it's incredibly green right now. So it's that in that case, it was seeded and top dressed.
Okay, question from Ed Weinberg, who says, I believe you posted a 1% for your for N in your product. It's actually 1.5. How much of this is ammonia and how much is N nitrate?
That's a great question, and I don't have the spec right in front of me. April, do you know what it is offhand? I should know this, but I don't. It's on the website though, bloomsoil.com. There's a spec on the website.
Yeah, I'd have to pull that up and confirm. We do have another question in the meantime. Does your receiving station accept slurried commercial food waste from offsite processing?
I don't know. I have to check and see with the pretreatment people. If you send me an email, I will find out. cpiat@dcwater.com. I think I know who asked this question, and I can find out. I don't know for sure.
That's Kendall Christianson.
Yep, I knew it was Kendall.
Let's see. Looking to see if there are any other questions here. While we're waiting to see if there are any last questions, you know, just kind of reflecting at where we're at in the program, what would you say have been some of the key success factors? As I know some of these folks out here might be looking at doing something themselves, even though every, municipality is a bit different. And then kind of what have been some of the big challenges that the program has faced and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, I think the most successful thing that we did, or the thing that has bore the most fruit, is connecting with the urban ag community and connecting with some very well respected environmental groups in the DC metro area. Just because once we had people from those groups starting to use the product, confidence grew with others, because I think that they felt that if it was good enough for, say, Casey Trees or some of these other well-known groups, then it was probably a pretty good product. So I think that was, for us anyways, that was really, really key to our success. And reaching out to these groups, they're groups that we don't, in the wastewater treatment industry, we don't traditionally reach out to. And it's been incredibly successful. I was preparing my staff, who are younger than me, for lots of slings and arrows, because it's human waste. And I've gone through a lot of these meetings where people are suspicious because it is human waste. And I think the time is right. It's been incredibly, it's been really, really great to see that people seem ready for this. I don't know if it's millennials in DC or what, but people understand the risks. They understand what we're trying to do. They understand that we're trying to sequester carbon back into the soil, and that this is helping the earth. And that all of this comes from them. So we always close meetings by thanking people for their contribution to our system and to the production of green energy and the production of bloom. And it's really important to link this back to them. I always use the analogy that if we're animals, right? And we just happen to all live in an urban setting, and our poop goes away. But if a bear is in the woods and it goes to the river and it scoops out a salmon and eats it, and then goes and poops in the forest, the forest floor knows what to do with that feces. The bear does not, by design, the bear doesn't use all the nutrients. It leaves some of it on the forest floor for the microbes to convert from organic nitrogen into plant available inorganic nitrogen. And then the plants use it and grow more berries for the bears to eat. And it's sort of what we do at the plant. It's just accelerated nature. We have microbes here at the plant, and we have dense populations of those microbes, so we can accelerate the process. So those type of connections and talking to the public in those terms, rather than pulling out a giant stack of peer-reviewed scientific papers, I think that's really helped a lot. Sorry, I don't know if I answered the question or
not. Yeah, no, that's great. And we actually had a number of other questions come in the meantime. So
all right,
skip ahead to those. Some technical questions here about using bloom. Nancy asked, what's the mix for blended material, and could you use sand as well as sawdust?
Yes, we have a blend that uses sand as well. Again, we have specs for all of the different products on our website, and we have spec sheets on how to use it. Rather than go through them all, I think I would rather direct you to the bloomsoil.com website. But yes, we do have a product that uses sand as well.
And the mix for like our woody blend is simply like wood fines and bloom. So
yep.
The mixes that we have are pretty straightforward. Another question that about the woody mix in raised beds, what should bloom be mixed with?
Well, yeah, we recommend putting it on the soil and then working it into the soil. So you put a 2-inch layer down and then work it into about 3 inches. Again, product by product, there are different uses and different recommendations on the spec sheets. But yeah, you wouldn't want to plant directly into that mix. It's too high in nutrients. But if you put a couple inches down and till it in or hoe it in to 6 or 8 inches, that works really well.
And Trudy asks how you locate locally available residuals for blending with Bloom. And I'm not sure if they mean like
Probably the wood chips and the sawdust and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've scoured the internet. We also have people who buy our products for, their soil providers, and some of those soil providers are giant yards who do wood chipping. So they have piles of wood chips and different things. So we've done some efficient trucking and sent Bloom up to them for blending, and then brought wood fines back to us. So part of it is our partners who we're selling to have products available that we can use. And then part of it is just finding sawmills on the internet, getting on the phone.
Yeah, at this point, the three major ingredients we have all come from people who are trading Bloom for that.
Yeah, we are willing to swap.
And one last question from Ed Weinberg on the P content. Does your service region for land application have restrictions on P content due to HAB's formation due to P overloads to freshwater bodies?
Yeah, we do. The different states have different limitations on how we can use it. Unfortunately, our product has P in it, and it's there because the wastewater treatment plant, part of its job is to remove the P from the water so that it doesn't end up out in the Chesapeake Bay. And what we do is we add iron salts, ferric chloride, to precipitate out phosphorus, and it ends up in the biosolids. And it's bound by the phosphorus. I mean, it's bound by the iron in there, which is also good for plants. And not terribly available, but the states currently don't recognize that. We're working on trying to change that. But yes, we are restricted in some states in the region as to how much we can use because of the phosphorus in there.
Last question, actually, from Kate Pacious, who's a landscape architect in Alexandria. Awesome. And would love for my landscape contractors to be able to blend this into their soil mix. Did you say you were waiting on approval in Virginia?
No, we have a distribution and marketing permit in Virginia. It's a little bit more complicated in Virginia to send fresh Bloom over. We're working on trying to get that changed, but right now it's a little bit difficult to sell fresh Bloom to blenders in Virginia, but we can blend it and send it to your landscapers if in the meantime, anyways, if you'd like.
And we do have a blender now doing our blends, which is also possible. So
yes, yep.
Well, great.
So please, yeah. Anyways,
sorry?
I was just going to say, any marketing questions, any product questions, please forward to April and we will answer them.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue. If there are any lingering questions, you're welcome to either email me at april@bloomsoil.com, or our generic email address is bloom@bloomsoil.com. And really just want to thank you, Chris, for that great presentation, and for all of you for joining. You can find a lot more resources on our website. We've got a list of all the local DMV retailers we can purchase Bloom. We've got summaries of all the third-party research. We've got all the analyses, and I did pull up for that question about ammonium and nitrates. For the record, on the cured material, it's 350 milligrams per kilogram of each. So yeah, relatively low. So yeah, that's all we have for today. And again, I will be sending out a recording of this along with the slides, so feel free to peruse that. And thanks again, and have a great day, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I really appreciate the time.